Most men don't even like their woman that they're with, but they'll never tell that woman. And I'm going to explain in this video why this happens, how this happens, and how you can tell if that's what you got yourself into. If you're in a relationship, you might be watching the video and say, yep, I'm kind of at that point with my wife, girlfriend, whoever. I'm not telling you to do anything about it, but I can talk about what you could if you wanted to near the end. But let's get into the story here. How I came about this topic is I was on TikTok and YouTube, and I saw this famous content creator, and she's supposed to be like a relationship person. She gives dating advice, relationship advice, and she's got like she's definitely got followers in the millions, a few million I think. And she was on a video talking about how her and her guy, they live together now. They weren't living together at first, of course. They became boyfriend, girlfriend. They're living together, and somehow they're in therapy. And whenever a woman wants you to go to therapy, it's a bad sign. It's usually them trying to get you to fix something about yourself, although you may not be broken. They just want you to conform to something they want. She's in therapy with the guy, and she says that one thing she can't figure out is he's been starting to distance himself. When he wakes up in the morning, he wants to do his own thing. He doesn't really want to be around her and talk too much when they wake up in the morning, and that's a bad thing for her because they live together now. So she's saying like the joys of waking up and being together, living in the same house, is that I guess she could spend more time with him, take up more of his time. One thing certain men don't want women to take up more of their time, especially when you start getting to the phase I'm talking about. When you stop liking her as much, when you stop liking the woman the way that you used to, that is the last thing you're trying to give up is time. This is the reason why most miserable wives, when they're in a relationship with a husband that works too much, or she could tell you that she's going through relationship problems, he never wants to spend time with her. That's because at that point the guy's just attached to her. He might love her, but he don't like her enough to be around her as much. You only want to be around the woman when you like her. And so, is it a good or a bad thing? That's up to you to decide. I know for a fact I've been in relationships like this where I stopped liking the woman less, and of course I don't want to spend as much time around them. You might find yourself in that position. You could be in that position now. And so when that therapist or that lady, that content creator, was talking about this, I knew exactly what it was. She can't figure it out because the whole point of this video is, guys, we're never gonna tell that woman. You can't tell women the truth. You can't say, I don't like you the same, even though I moved in. Because usually when you move in, one or both people are going to stop liking each other as much. You're just attached, or you're either in love, one or the other, and they're not the same. But that doesn't mean that you like them. And that's why that guy started doing that. His morning routine, he likes himself more, that he'd rather have his own morning routine than wake up with her and probably sip coffee and sniff flowers and go on a walk. He probably doesn't want to do that because he doesn't like her the same anymore. It's very clear. I had a relationship where I was like that one time, where I remember me and this woman, we went out of town and we stayed. She got us a nice hotel room and all that stuff. She actually paid for this one. We were in a hotel, and I woke up earlier than her because I just always wake up on a routine as a guy. I wake up, I don't sleep in. I get up, she sleeps in. I'm like, I'm going to get me some coffee. So I'm going to go to the lobby. I told her I'm about to go down to the lobby. I'm going to go for a walk, get a coffee. So I do that. And then I start walking outside because we're in a downtown area where we stayed. I start walking outside, catching some fresh air and drinking coffee and just kind of exploring the city, because if she doesn't want to wake up, notice how I'm not trying to force her to participate in what my routine is. I'm just going to go do my routine. She was a little bit upset, or probably majorly upset. I couldn't tell. All I knew is she didn't like it, because when I got back to the room, she called me and said, hey, I'm ready to go eat. I said, all right, get dressed and I'll come pick you up. We'll go get something to eat. When I got back to the room, she was upset. You know how women give you the silent treatment? Well, it wasn't silent treatment because I wasn't trying to talk to her as much. I just came in the room and I noticed she didn't converse as much as she usually does. So I picked up on the energy, but I don't really play games with people that act like children. So you either tell me what's wrong or I'm just gonna let you just have your silent temper tantrum. So that's how I just let it roll off. Is I'm not gonna ask you what's wrong if you're too afraid to say what's wrong. So I knew she felt some type of way, but then eventually she had to talk because I was never going to ask her. So when we sat down and ate breakfast, she mentioned that she didn't like that I didn't just stay and sleep in with her and cuddle with her, and that's just not the vision of how she planned out what the morning or the vacation would look like. She thought it would be more like her dream of what her guy that she likes would do with her. And I just straight up told her, look, I don't sleep in. I don't wake up later than say 8-9 o'clock, even if I stayed up late. I said, that's just not something I'm going to do. I said, more than likely, I just like to follow my routine. I wake up, I get coffee. I did a lot of good things that I enjoyed. And she was asking, well, do you think it's sometimes you could ever do it differently for me? And I just honestly said, I don't even know. I don't think I could do that, honestly. I said, I don't want to lie to you and just say yes. But that's also another sign, guys. Like, I just didn't like her enough to do it. But at certain points, guys will say yes, they'll do it if you like her enough. And I know some people say, well, you'll do it if you love her. Yes, but doing it because you love someone is sometimes like reluctant, and that is part of relationships too. But in all of these situations, I'm just pointing out, guys do get to a stage where you no longer like the woman and you don't realize it. That's another thing. You're not even aware that you don't like the woman anymore. You're just kind of going with the flow. This is how guys are. We go with the flow after we get settled in, and we're not even thinking about if we like the girl anymore. But I've seen it. I've seen guys have wives that you can tell they don't really like because the wife seems like she's taking away from his life, taking away from his energy, taking away from his happiness, but they're not going to go anywhere. The guy is not going to leave the relationship. Why? Because he's used to it, he's attached to it, and he's in love with her. But also, shouldn't you like your girl and shouldn't she like you? I think if you're looking for something long term, I think like should be a part of the equation. I just noticed it falls off a lot over time, and that's one thing I noticed about that content creator. So that's why I made this video, is that it's a little secret that guys will never tell women, but we stop liking y'all too. It's not just one way around, because it's always a perception guys are in relationships with women that stop liking them, but it does go the other way around more often than not. But guys, we never speak up, and because we can't hurt women's feelings. Also, we know there's a lot of backlash from hurting women's feelings. So that's why personally I don't get too truthful when it comes to women and expressing this, because I'll have to just find a different way to explain it. I'll just say, hey, it's not working out or something else, but I'm never going to just straight up say, hey, I don't like you as much anymore. It's kind of hard to say that to people and for them to take that well. So be mindful if you are in a situation like that and this is an epiphany for you. You just discovered, wow, you're kind of right. I don't really like the woman that I'm with like that. This is what happens when you move together too. So make sure if you move in with a woman, which I don't recommend unless you're really doing the building a family and marriage thing, maybe the only option. But outside of that, you're probably going to stop liking her at some point, and you're going to be stuck living with her, and then you'll start having these same habits, and she's going to wonder what's wrong with you, why you need to go to therapy, and why you don't spend as much time. The truth is, guys, just we know we don't like to spend as much time with women that we don't like as much. You might be less attracted to them physically. They might have just annoyed you so much that the like meter is just drained completely, and they're very not self-aware. They're very self-consumed, so they're never going to really reflect on, is it me? Sometimes that is pretty much it. It is them. They have warned us, guys, thin and we just don't like them as much anymore.